Friends, I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about a problem that's near and dear to my heart. It's a condition that affects untold millions of people around the world today. It's called scope creep. Scope creep is when you're working on a project and the scope of said project spirals out of control. Kind of how it has on this. When I first started this project, I intended to do it in basically 3 phases. Phase 1 was just to get it running, driving, and stopping. And that would let me drive the thing around and enjoy it as an old Jeep for a little bit before I brought it back to the garage, parked it, and then tore it down to do all those major things like transmission rebuild, the transfer case rebuild. And I had not intended to do an engine rebuild, and I'm not sure if we're there yet. I hope we're not there. Because it runs well enough. Just, don't jinx it. But the scope of this project has certainly spiraled almost out of control in a way that I hadn't really intended. So, I guess it makes for a lot of videos, but I had hoped almost 2 years later to be at least driving the thing by now. But when the guy sold it to me, said it needed one of everything, I didn't think he meant literally one of everything. But that's where this project has ended up, scope creep. I didn't think that I would be stripping everything off this engine just to paint it. Heck, I didn't even really intend to clean up and paint that transmission the way I did, or with the transfer case the way I did. I was just gonna rock them as they were. But here we are. So I hope it's at least entertaining to some of you to watch me struggle and learn all these new things and learn how to do things the right way versus the shade tree mechanic way. With that out of the way, let's get back to work. I've done quite a few projects over the years, but I never really bothered to chase threads like this. Part of that's because I didn't have the right tool, but I am very glad that I do now, because every single threaded hole I'm coming across, I am chasing the threads. I'll bet this thing comes out absolutely filthy. Yeah, not as bad as some of them have. But now the studs just thread right in, as they should. I don't know if you can hear how crispy this one is. Unfortunately, this one is not coming out. I'm not quite sure what to do about that. Yep, that's a pretty nasty one. The old double nut trick. Sometimes it works. Got lucky this time. If only I was just as lucky on these head studs. So I'm trying to spare you some of the noise as I try to get the rest of this stuff off, but I'm just having a hell of a time getting some of these bolts to come off. And there's basically two, it's all head bolts except for these 2 that are studs. And I've done the reading, of course. People prefer studs over head bolts because the coarse thread down at the bottom kind of stays put, and then the fine threads up top give you that fine adjustment on the torque to get this thing torqued down to spec. Well, obviously I'm gonna have to retorque the whole thing anyways, but I'm having a hell of a time getting these loose. They finally did come loose, but the stud came out, which is not what I wanted. I wanted the top part to come out. That is all kinds of burnt and crusty. Which is weird that it's burnt and crusty. That's in the water jacket. So what's going on there? Finally, this crappy thing comes off. I've actually been trying to get this thing off since the very early days of the project, just so I could get all the stuff off the head, but I wasn't having it. But here we go. I've been meaning to research what some of these actually mean. Let's see, W5 6.48. I assume that's a serial number, and then 717. No clue what any of that means. If you know, let me know in the comments below, because I might not remember to actually look that up later. But if you happen to know, leave me a comment. Holy crap, I wish I'd had the camera going. I'm just hanging out, and the spring to my garage door randomly snaps. Check that out, what the heck? Now the cables are just hanging loose. What in the world? That looks expensive. Whew, disaster averted. Shout out to the garage door guy in Little Rock for coming over here the next day to fix that. So as it turns out, it's not supposed to be difficult to turn. That spins a hell of a lot smoother. All right. Yeah, crispy as expected. They all are. Oh man, the inside of that is crusty. Two years after I should have done this, I'm gonna drain the oil. All right, here we go. Ugh. Severely overdue for change, I think. Figured that would happen. See if we can rotate the engine just slightly for a gravity assist.
One eternity later.
For a minute there, I was forgetting why I was going to all this trouble to do this cleanup. And then I was reminded of things like this. Yeah, that thing's leaking like crazy. So that's why we're cleaning this up. Alright, I am all over the place today, but I've got the manifold back together. I got the original spring off of the old stuck heat riser. I've got that transferred over to the new manifold, and it's installed correctly. And there we go. Functioning heat riser. That should be all the way up. There we go. That's all the way closed. I went ahead and referenced Metal Shaper's video on that one just to remind myself, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Then it'll cool itself off over time and go back to the closed position. This is the detail people miss. That's one that you don't want to miss. Otherwise, you boil all your fuel out of your carburetor all the time. And you can see it's already cooling off with that fan over there blowing right on it. And that'll slowly shrink back down to its original size and close the heat riser again. Ah, jeez. Come here, guys. Take a look at this. Get a whiff of that. That's supposed to be brass, I think. Look at all that sludge. Oof. I guess there's a little bit of oil left in there. Can you guys even see? Here. Look at that. Oh, man. Phew. While we're at it, let's take a look underneath. Well, not great, not terrible. Little bits of rust here and there, but given that it was parked for that long, I don't doubt it. Looks okay enough to me, though. Yeah, this gasket's gonna be a pain in the ass to get off and up. I knew it. Right there. There's the broken one. I think there were 2 broken oil pan bolts. I may be misremembering that, but there's at least one. How the heck am I gonna get that out? Well, gang, I think this is where I'm gonna leave it for this one. The oil pan is dropped. I've confirmed that, yep, it probably hasn't been changed since the 70s, maybe the 80s. It smelled like the 70s, but maybe the 80s. I've got a lot more cleanup to do. This is a very, very slow process. I think I should someone commented and said I should get one of those like Shark steam cleaners, and that would probably cut through the grease, but I don't know. I may actually get one of those and see if I can push this ahead. But that's it for this one. It's July 3rd. Tomorrow's the 4th of July. I think by the time you guys see this, it'll be a week later. So happy belated 4th. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.